There we go. Now you guys can hear me. And I assume that you guys can now hear music as well. Don't know what was happening there. For some reason, my streaming software was not playing my audio. I had to turn it on. So let's try this again. Welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement, a.k.a. the virtual Heinz Field, as you see behind me. And yes, I feel like I have to answer this question all the time. Yes, this is an image that I actually took myself at Heinz Field. The only thing that has been changed, the clouds. I did adjust the cloud color a little bit. Well, actually, my brother-in-law did that. Shout outs to my brother-in-law, Kevin. Did that for me and removed some of the people that were behind me on the field, if you guys remember that. So that's the only thing. Other than that, it is an actual image that I took. Again, I say that because people always ask me, hey, man, where did you get that thumbnail? It is a photo that I took myself after a game at Heinz Field. But welcome, guys. Listen, y'all know what time it is. Minicamp has broken. This is a lull period. There's not a lot to talk about today. I'm just being open and honest with you guys. I'm going to do a lot of looking in the comments, pulling stuff from you guys. We're just going to sit here and chat it up a little bit. I don't even expect the show to be an hour. I'll put the timer up just because, but I don't even expect that to happen during this period, man, until we get to training camp. Unless some real news breaks. It's not going to be a whole bunch to get into each and every Tuesday, but we'll be here. We'll be here because it gives us a place of peace and love and just a place where we can all convene together and discuss Steelers football, which we all do love. So really quick, guys, first thing I like to always do is say what's up and hello to the early commenters, so let me do that. Got to say what's up, too. Is it Kaja? I don't want to attempt to pronounce your last name. I'm assuming maybe one of those letters are silent, so please give me the phonetic spelling of that. I hope it's Kaja. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He says, Dietrich Bundick, Ron Simpson Gaming. What's up, Ron? Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing this evening? Thank you for coming through. Like always, really appreciate you and the lovely ladies, of course. Barbara Bill. He's laughing at the thumbnail. Yeah, man, most of you guys would know, man, my thumbnails usually tie into the title of the video, which, typically is the main topic of the night. We'll get into it. Daredevil, Ali Howard, good brother Y Diggy in the building as well. Who else is in here? MJ, Cody, Jack Bauer, Brian Williams, Joshua Shields, and TB Ballin 24. Hello. Says hello to you as well. And that's about it for right now. The rest of you guys and gals, I guess, will fill in later on. And also, it's the summertime. Listen, I know everybody's not going to give me their Tuesday night. Listen, I'm a realist about that. I expect the show to slow down just a little bit because, again, we don't have a lot to talk about. But I'm here. I'm here to provide a platform for us to talk about whatever we want to get into, short and sweet, until training camp hits. All right, so let's get into it. Let me cut on my little timer. There we have it. I would be very surprised if we get anywhere close to an hour. Very surprised. Very, very, very surprised. Let's get into it. So, the topics that I'm going to jump into tonight, no particular order, but roughly what we're going to talk about. I want to talk about a couple things. We're hearing about Mason Rudolph, some speculation, some reports out there. That would be the main topic. Also, Arthur Moats, weighing in and giving his opinions on what he's seeing out there training camp in terms of the quarterbacks. I think what he had to say is, it's probably no surprise, so I'll get into that. Chris Wormley, another guy who's speaking highly on Mitch Trubisky. George Pickens as well. Again, I'll get into that in a moment, but to me, I just feel like there's some type of connection, man, when everyone in the organization is speaking of him specifically. It's almost like everybody knows who it's going to be. Everybody knows whose job is going to be. It's still got to be one. I think there is still a competition, but I think the path has already been set. The writing is on the wall. I'm going to also talk about PFF. And, how do you guys feel about Pro Football Focus as a whole? That's going to be the question I throw out there to you guys, because I just want to know how you feel about them, their ratings. And do you live and die by it? Do you disagree with it? Are they historically good at what they do? Are they historically bad at what they do? I want to hear that from you guys, because I got my own opinions as well. And then last but not least, man, we'll talk about Mason Rudolph. And I also will talk about why I have a good feeling about this team. Very early, and I'm sure I'll revisit this, but I'll tell you guys why I have a good feeling about the team right now. That's not to say what we're going to do. That's not to say what we're going to win. Just an overall feeling. I will explain. First thing we'll talk about, man, let's get the, one of the lighter topics out of the way. JuJu Smith-Schuster returned to Pittsburgh this past weekend for some type of event. Apparently there was a huge turnout, and it's always good to see JuJu do what he does, the community type of guy. Again, and I think Najee Harris is following right in that path. I told you guys this several weeks before. I think I said this last week. Najee is giving me those same vibes in terms of being that guy, the personality that you're interested in, the young man that he is, the charitable things that he does, and him giving back and what he means to the community. I think that is going to be Najee, who fills that void very obviously, like JuJu did. And the reason why I say obviously, because I'm sure there's a bunch of other guys on the team that do things here and there. You don't hear about it as much because maybe their personality doesn't lend to the reporting. Maybe the reporters don't really give them as much press time or camera time or what have you. Najee, to me, is going to be that guy. He's going to be what JuJu was. And clearly, the way he goes back and forth with the reporters, I talked about this last week, just him living in his own skin and being him at all times. I love that. How he plays with them, picks with them. It was a guy that asked him a question last week, and he made fun at him, was like, yeah, you just got here, right? We already answered that question. And it wasn't like he went back to it. He left it at that and kept on going. Again, I just like what Najee appears to be as a person. And again, like I said, it relates to JuJu, and it just reminds me of that. JuJu coming back to Pittsburgh right now in the offseason, not even on the team, still doing stuff in the community. But the reason why I want to talk about him is he mentioned, he could see himself being back in Pittsburgh someday. Interesting. Let's keep our eyes on it and see how that plays out down the road. The funny thing about it is JuJu didn't get a long, he didn't get a super long contract or anything like that. So we shall see. We shall see. And it would be interesting, man. Let's say a Deontay Johnson doesn't get signed and JuJu finds his way back to Pittsburgh and they move on from Deontay Johnson as far as being the number one guy, but then you bring JuJu back just to be a veteran presence along with Pickens, along with Claypool and Austin and whoever else would be in the fold at that point. I don't know, it's just something to think about. Again, I'm not saying, sitting here today on June the 14th, 2022, saying, oh, I can't wait for JuJu to come back. I'm just stating the obvious. I'm just, stating what he said. Maybe there is a possibility that it comes back. It still trips me out just hearing him say that whoever the quarterback was going to be was going to really influence his decision. So it would be interesting to see if he found his way back to the Steelers. I can't remember, guys, did he get a 1 year or 2 year deal with Kansas City? 1 year, right? Somebody confirm that for me. I think it was one. I don't think it was any more than 2 years, but something is making me recall a 1 year deal. Because I think when it happened, we all were kind of like, could have came back to Pittsburgh for that. Yeah, that's what I thought. There you go. Oh, hello, Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie. Hey, Miss Debbie, how you doing? Appreciate you being here tonight. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was a 1 year deal. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to go down that road now and give my thoughts on it. I'm just saying, for him to say that, we shall see. And we'll see what type of success he has in Kansas City. So all the best to JuJu Smith-Schuster. All right, the next thing I'll talk about here, man. How do you feel about PFF? And I think a couple of you guys had some comments about it. So I'm going to ask that question again. How do you guys traditionally feel about PFF? Let me see if you guys have already mentioned it in the comments. And I will read any that you have. I think I saw Y Diggy. Y Diggy says he used to like PFF analysis, but the more I see them, the more I realize they're just like every other mainstream media. They tend to overrate players and overrate certain players. He says and severely underrate others. Yeah, man, I can go along with that. What else do you guys have to say about PFF? Any other comments on PFF? And what I will do is I will go into the reason why I even brought this up as a minor topic. This is kind of a question on to the question. How do you feel about PFF? But the reason why I'm asking is, again, listen, we all have our opinions. Some things, in my opinion, are based, that's an oxymoron, right? I said some things, in my opinion, are based on fact. That's what I was about to say. How could that be? But hear me out. Some things, at least this is what I feel, can be based in fact with statistics and, some things everyone can see a relative performance, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Let's take it off of football for a quick second because most of us are watching the finals. And boy, did that momentum swing. Now, yeah, Boston is in a bit of a pinch right now, but I don't think anyone can deny. I'm not even going to say Steph. Steph has been balling out of control. I'm not even going to say the glue of that team, which is Draymond. But I don't think many people can deny what Andrew Wiggins has been for the Warriors through these playoffs. Go back and look at some of the playoff series up through now. I don't think you can deny that. So regardless of how you feel about him, I think it's easy for everyone to see what this guy has done for the Warriors team in this postseason, right? Same thing with bringing it back to football. I don't think you have to like, love, hate, disagree with, etc. with TJ Watt. But I don't think you can argue the numbers that he put up and how productive he was last season, right? Those things are obvious. It doesn't take, it shouldn't take a million people to agree. I think everybody can look at that and be like, yeah, he balled out. Jamar Chase, okay, let's take it off of the Steelers. I don't think it's hard to find people to say, yeah, that dude balled out. Some things are just there. It doesn't take so much analysis. What is your point you guys are saying? Post came out to where apparently PFF has ranked Mike Tomlin 13th best coach in the NFL going into 2022. My question to you guys is, do you agree with that? And if you agree, I want you to tell me why you agree. Because I'm curious. I'm curious to know. I don't have a dog in the race. I'm just curious to hear you guys' thoughts. So let me see if anybody said anything else about PFF real quick while I wait for the answer to that question. Do you guys agree that they have Mike Tomlin listed as the 13th best coach in the NFL going into 2022? Steeler Card says PFF is a scam. Anything else? Debbie says, I'm with Y Diggy. PFF prides themselves on being data-driven, but these last few polls makes me think they have joined the clickbait crowd. What's worse is you have to pay for their service. See, I didn't even know that because I don't pay for their service, not one bit. I really just read some of the posts that come out from them. 007 says PFF put Baker Mayfield on a pedestal years back. Wow. Bettsburgh says, show me who's in front of him. And again, guys, I'm not sitting here trying to campaign and wave the pom-poms and all of that and get into a Mike Tomlin discussion, but I'm just saying, whether you hate or love him, 13th best coach in the NFL today? Why Diggy says, forget Mike Tomlin. They rated Sean McVay as the 11th best head coach, which is just egregious. Yeah, so, excuse me. Okay, let's take it off of Tomlin. Sean McVay. How long has Sean McVay been a head coach? I'm going to take a guess at it. 5 years? About 5? Am I right there, guys? About 5 years, right? 4 or 5 years. Okay. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. And he won a Super Bowl. In what? 5 years, right? No more than 5, if I'm not mistaken. How many other coaches are in front of him? So who is, and I didn't even bother to look at the ratings, but who is 1 through 10 if Sean McVay is number 11? Claude Bishop says PFF got Harbaugh at number 2 and Tomlin owns him. And this is what I'm saying. Again, this is not about being biased or anything. Again, why Dickie brought up a great point with Sean McVay. How is Sean McVay not ahead of Harbaugh right now at this very moment? Come on, man. I'm just saying. And I think Harbaugh is a good coach. But come on now, number 2? I don't know. Don't understand it. Claude said, we all know PFF is some BS. So, yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys if y'all, agree with that, because I thought it was crazy. I thought it was really crazy. Kenyon says PFF relies on analytics, and I hate analytics. Yeah, man. I mean, come on, the eye test. Even if you want to use analytics, how do you come up with Mike Tomlin at 13 and McVay at 11? So, again, shout-outs to Y Diggy for bringing up that point. Who else? Like, who are these other coaches from 10 down to 1? I don't get it. Okay, thank you, Debbie. She says it's supposedly based on coaching for the last 10 years. Now, see, if that is the case, is it fair to put McVay in that conversation? If that's the case, then it should only be coaches who have 10 or plus years. So, yeah, I think it's a joke, man. And TTB Ballin says Mike Tomlin is probably top 5 coach in the league. I think putting him at 13 is way under. He's winning each season. He's for Pittsburgh, and if Steelers release Tomlin, phones are ringing. Yeah, and you know what? Let me not wear the Mike Tomlin cape, right? Let me take the cape off, if you will, because some people say, "Oh, you be caping for him." Listen, we all can agree. Okay, Mike. We love you as a coach, but yeah, I would love to see our team back in the playoffs and actually win a playoff game and actually give me the feeling that we have a chance again. And what do I mean by that? Well, I thought we had a slight chance when we played in the AFC Championship. Honestly, and for you guys who might remember, I honestly can't remember if I was doing the show way back then. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago? But I definitely told friends and family, Tony can be my witness, I don't think we're going to New England and beat New England. So that year, if you guys remember me saying that here publicly, I did not think we were going to go beat New England in an AFC Championship game. I had the same argument as I argued for several years until recent years. Our defense has not been good enough. I don't trust that defense. I don't trust them against New England, and we saw what happened. I did think we had an excellent chance playing Jacksonville in the divisional playoffs, even though our defense still wasn't great. It just felt like a year where the team was competing at an all-time level. I mean, 13-3, and rightfully you could say 14-2 because, yeah, Jesse James caught it. That was the year. We had a bye. I was like, yeah, this is the year. We're going to get the game at home. We only got to hit the road one time. We lose it. So I at least want Tomlin and company to get us back to that. At least let me feel it. Let me feel the playoffs. Let us win a game in the playoffs. Yeah, we made it last year, but we all knew we won't win in that game. Let's get back to the point where we get to the playoffs and we really expect to win at least that first game. Can we at least get back to that? Now, we talking Super Bowl. I know that's down the line. I'm just saying, it is time, Mike, to get us back there where we're confident going into the playoffs and we get a playoff win. So I will agree with that. But yeah, 13th, nah, B, I don't see that one. So I'm sorry, PFF, I do not agree. PDG90 says Tomlin is third or fourth. I can live with that. Somebody said, wasn't Sean McDermott really low? I'm not sure. I didn't see the whole list. You know, I just saw that 13th and was like, okay, you guys got to be kidding me. But all right, man, let's move on to the next topic. Like I said, guys, we breezing through this thing tonight, man. Ain't a whole lot to get into. Let's talk a little bit about what Arthur Moat said about the quarterbacks, and then I'll go right into my final topic. Poor Mason Rudolph. Listen, I agree with what Arthur Moat said on his podcast. You know, shout outs to the Arthur Moat Experience. You know, I listen to them from time to time. I don't catch all of them because if I'm being honest, man, there's not many podcasts that I sit and watch. I know y'all would laugh at that, me being a quote-unquote podcaster, but it's not a whole lot I just watch. You know, I have one or two podcasts that I watch, like, religiously. And that's it. Because, you know, no disrespect, you know, I watch little clips here and there, and some people have told me I should start doing that. And maybe when I start getting more robust topics and I really have different segments, maybe I'll start posting clips. But I see that's the trend now with a lot of the bigger podcasts in all genres. You know, they have clips of individual parts of the show, and then there's also the full show. I don't know. You know, it's all media tricks. And what I mean by that, it's, you know, more views for the show. So it's like if I cut up this show, right? If I come back and I take the segment where I'm just talking about Mason Rudolph and put that out there, and maybe I'll do it this time just to see how it goes. But you're basically getting more views for the same content, and then you have the full content that's out there for those who want to watch it. Okay, smart. But anyway, that's how I digest some people's podcasts, because I don't sit and watch everyone's podcast all the way through. Steelers, music, I mean, any of those things. It's not many. It's like two, like I said. It's like two that I watch. But that's about it. But anyway. So Arthur Moat, I did happen to see this clip, and he just kind of talked about how the guys looked and behaved and things of that nature at minicamp. And he basically is saying Mitch Trubisky is looking and performing and, you know, kind of having that aura of QB1. He's basically just talking about his consistency. He's saying that for the most part, from what he's seeing with his own eyes, there's more of a competition between Pickett and Trubisky than it is with Rudolph, which is expected. I've been saying that, right? And yeah, he says he's, you know, it's not saying he's head and shoulders above Kenny Pickett. It's just that his consistency is what's definitely driving it home. That, you know, it's definitely feeling like he's QB1. I don't think that's breaking news, guys. I definitely think that that's how the Steelers are planning to do it. So again, this rolls me right into the main topic here of Mason Rudolph. Listen, just like I put in the title, poor Mason Rudolph. Poor little Mason Rudolph. Poor little reindeer. My heart hurts for you. Because, sir, it's probably over with. It's probably over with. Listen, do I know that to be certain? I don't. Do any of you know that to be certain? You don't. Does anybody that's visiting practice know that to be certain? Maybe not. Maybe you can kind of see some things, but the only people who know are the Steelers. So let's talk about the Steelers for a moment. Again, mentioned this briefly last week. What do the Pittsburgh Steelers do? It all goes back to the offseason of 2021, which I thought was very interesting. Remember, Mason Rudolph signs an extension. I'm like, why would he do that? Why would he do that? I was puzzled. I literally had the puzzle look like, huh? You know how your face get funny and ugly when you puzzle? Huh? 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 What? That's exactly how I looked when Rudolph signed an extension. Huh? What? I'm thinking to myself, if I'm Mason Rudolph, why would I do that? Most of the people in the organization assumed and knew that Ben Roethlisberger would probably retire. Most of us fans assumed and knew that Ben Roethlisberger was probably playing his last season. We knew that. So I was like, okay, you're going to be a free agent following the 2021 season. Why wouldn't you test free agency? Unless, not only did you know what I just said that we probably knew and what the organization probably knew, did the Steelers tell him that he was going to be their number one guy heading into 2022? We'll never know. Did they give him any type of pep talk? Hey, man, listen, we're going to give you an opportunity to compete. Why don't you let us extend you a year? And you'll come in and compete. Did they give him that spill, or did they tell him you're our number one guy? And was Mason Rudolph's counter to say, okay, I'll give you a year, then I want to test free agency? Was his agent not aware of him possibly having a better opportunity perhaps as a free agent? We'll never know because we don't know what his market is. I'm just saying, I thought that was a sign to me. I said, okay, clearly what they're doing is they're telling him, we know Roethlisberger's probably going to retire. You're going to be our guy. We're going to give you a chance to compete. Great. All right, great. So what do the Steelers do right after that? Oh, let's not even get there. What are the players talking about? You hear all the players saying, yeah, depending on who the quarterback is going to be. Najee was saying that. A lot of people were saying that. JuJu. Nobody was saying, we think Mason Rudolph is going to be the guy for us. Nobody was saying that. Y'all remember? So then the Steelers bring in Mitch Trubisky. They sign him to a 2-year deal. Took no time in free agency. Think about it. The Steelers didn't even do their normal sit back and relax. No. They ain't take them no time for us to get that news. We actually got the news before it was official. For one of the first times that I can remember, we actually got deals done during the tampering period, and they told us publicly. They ain't waste no time. So if you Mason Rudolph, you got to give them the rock eyebrow and raise one like, hey, now. Okay, you looking over there, you're like, okay, I'm cool with competition and all, but what's up with that? It don't seem like, y'all didn't take no time. They ain't waste no time to bring the competition in. Okay, I see what it is. Cool. You're not going to be the only quarterback in camp, so you say to yourself, all right, there's Mitch Trubisky, he's new. I think I can battle it out with him. You got Dwayne Haskins over here, rest his peace. God bless his soul. But at that time, Rudolph is looking at Haskins saying, okay, I know what he's got. I'm still a little ahead of him in the pecking order, so I got I can compete. I'm ready. Then what do? Steelers draft Kenny Pickett in the first round. Round 1. Kenny Pickett. First round. If you Mason Rudolph, you got to know that you don't have a chance to be the starter in Pittsburgh. Just my observation. And if that wasn't bad enough, throughout the season, all you heard was your head coach saying, yeah, mobile quarterbacks are important. Hint, hint, Ben Roethlisberger isn't it. So is that the reason why? That just dawned on me, guys. Sometimes this stuff I'm just freestyling this stuff. It just dawned on me. Is that the reason why Mason Rudolph was taking off and running so much against Detroit? Y'all remember that? You remember that? Rudolph had like 3 decent, lengthy runs in that game. Is that the reason why he did that? Was he actually auditioning, saying, hey, I can use my legs too? I don't recall seeing him take off running like that in any other games he played for us, preseason included. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. He ran noticeably. It was noticeable. Very noticeable in that Detroit game, as if he was saying, yeah, I can do this. Just saying. I don't know. I'm just observation. So if that wasn't bad enough, free agent guy is mobile. The new young rookie is mobile. And then y'all turn around and draft another guy in the 7th round who's also mobile. So clearly that's where they're trying to go. Where do you fit in if you're Mason Rudolph? You got to ask yourself that. And me personally, at the way it's looking right now, I think turn off the lights. The party's over. I think it's it for Mason Rudolph, man. Listen, I'm just saying. It's my observation. Some of you guys are probably saying, yeah, this is obvious. And some of you guys are probably saying, man, we don't know yet. Give him a chance. Okay, I'm not counting anything out. I'm just, eye test. Eye test and a little bit of common sense is what's bringing me to this decision. And I spoke about it in previous weeks. I'll probably keep talking about it until we get to training camp because that's where the story is really going to be told. I'm not going to read into Matt Canada saying, yes, right now Kenny Pickett is QB3. We know that. We know how the Steelers go with their pecking orders and how they enter camp. We know that. But what we also know is I don't expect Mason Rudolph to get a ton of reps. So really all Kenny Pickett got to do is be impressive. And he will secure at least the number 2 spot. So we shall see. I'm looking forward to that competition, man. I really am. Really am. But sorry, Rudolph. Sorry, buddy. Poor little tink tink, as my wife would say. Sorry, buddy. Excuse me. That's all I got, man. Listen, that short show tonight. Let me see if anybody's in the queue. Because if not, we can go ahead and... Yeah, nobody's in the queue. So I think this will just be a short one tonight, guys. I'll go ahead and close the phone queue here. Let's see what y'all got. Let's spend a little time. Let's spend a little time in the chat here. Give me a second. Let me close out the queue. Nobody was in the queue, so I went ahead and closed it. I'll spend a few minutes in here, man. What y'all got? Any off-the-cuff topics y'all want to get into? Let's see. Steelers Freak says, Mason has had a bad year. The hot GF dumped him to. Dude needs a fresh start. Okay. He does. You know, and listen, I'm not poo-pooing on Mason Rudolph. You know, I think I've been very supportive of him way more than a lot of some of you guys that are in this chat. You know, I don't think the kid is a bum. I don't. I think the fans, we're hard on him. I say we because we're all family, right? I think we're hard on him. I don't think he's a bum. I think there is a level of talent there. Just, you know, I don't see franchise QB for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, you know, could Mason Rudolph be a career backup? Sure. You know, could Mason Rudolph actually go somewhere and end up starting in a little while? Sure. Will Mason Rudolph have a lengthy and a long, extensive career as a starter? I don't know. You know, like I said, I don't think he's garbage. I just, you know, he just hasn't been the most impressive for us in his opportunities. But, you know, you have to weigh both sides here. We've seen some games where he played relatively decent. We've seen that. And we've seen some games where he was meh. So with that being said, I'm not ready to write him off saying that he will not be a quarterback for anyone in this league. I just don't think, I just think the ship stops for Pittsburgh. I don't think there's an opportunity. You know, I'm going to tell you something. If Mason Rudolph ends up being the day one starter over Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, boy, do we have more to talk about. So that's all I'm going to say. Without going at Mason Rudolph, I'm going to just keep it at that. If he is to start week one over Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, we have way more to talk about. And actually, the last thing I have on my notes here, and then we'll wrap it up. I feel good about this team from this perspective. This is early thoughts. There's something about this team that's coming together. I'm not expecting it to be this season in terms of Super Bowl champs or nothing like that. But I feel better about the new era in Pittsburgh because of the coaching staff. Like having guys like Brian Flores in the fold as a position coach. You know, you have a lot of talent now, capable guys on staff. And I'm looking at all of the young weapons that the Steelers have acquired offensively. I'm looking at a different style of play quarterback, whether it's Trubisky and or Kenny Pickett. Definitely, we're going to miss Big Ben Roethlisberger. We're going to miss that guy who would just stand back there and chuck it way down the field. However, the last few years, he hasn't been able to chuck it way down the field with accuracy. He was a statue last year. You could clearly see it. He just couldn't move anymore. It was time. Thank you for your service, Ben. We'll always appreciate you. But a different style quarterback, a guy who can move in the pocket, can take off running if he wants to, can run some different plays with those weapons. I am curious to see how this offense comes into fold. A couple young studs on defense. T.J. Watt goes without saying. Minka Fitzpatrick goes without saying. Cam Hayward, not young anymore, but he's still playing out of his mind. Miles Jack, a younger stud in my opinion. Cornerback position, we'll see. We'll see. Can Akello be what we think he can be from his performance in the latter half of the season? We'll see. But this doesn't feel as bad as I thought it would feel. It doesn't feel like a team that I think can't win. Realistically, what do I think this team's floor is? 8-win team. What do I think this team's ceiling possibly is as of today? 10-win team. Because I think there's enough talent there. There's enough veterans, coaching staff. I think there's enough talent to, squeeze out 10 wins on the high end. Now, some people might say, I see more than that. Maybe you do. But I'm just being modest. I'm being conservative. Even with the tough schedule, I think this team has the ability to win about 8 games. But on the high end, maybe they win 10. But I'm more so looking at what's being constructed, and I'm looking at 2 and 3 and 4 years down the road. And that's why I'm saying, as of today, I'm feeling good about this team because I don't think we're going to be in that extreme rebuild period for long. I think it's going to be more of a reloading. It might take them a year or two to get it quite together, but I think after that, because everybody's young, so you're going to have at least a solid 2 to 3 years where there's not too many people that you really got to worry about in terms of contract, as far as the young guns. Offensively, when you talk about, Claypool will be coming up sooner than everyone else, but when you talk about a Claypool, and you talk about Pickens, and you talk about Austin, and you talk about Najee, you talk about the quarterback position, you talk about Pat Freiermuth. These guys are they're solidified. They're going to be there for a solid 2 to 3 before you're talking about contracts with some of those guys. So I like the young nucleus that they're building. And again, I thought I would feel worse about the team at this point than I actually do. And we'll see. We'll see what that means. Like I said, I'm not heading into this season thinking these Steelers are going to go do any damage in the playoffs. Yet anything is possible. I'm just speaking from how I feel right now after the new era has been ushered in. A new draft has happened. Free agency has happened. And where do I feel on today's date before seeing anything in camp? And that's just how I feel. All right, Jack Bauer says he can see 11-6. Maybe. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna discount anything. Claude says 11-6 or 10-7. Maybe. Why Diggy says he thinks the ceiling is 11. See, we're all right around the same ballpark. Right around the same ballpark. All right, guys, let me give you guys a few minutes, man. We're going to wrap up early here tonight. What y'all got, though? Give me some couple more things if y'all might want me to touch on, answer, what have you. Debbie says, if that happens where Rudolph wins out, she says, I will be pissed in capital letters that they spent money and draft capital on a QB after paying Mason and knowing there were other needs. Debbie, I cannot disagree with you there, because when that happens, then remember the look on your face, draft night, is justified. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it. If it ends up like that, we can come back and be like, see, you were right. You had a prediction and it came true. So, man, I don't expect that to happen, but if it does, boy, oh boy. Steelers Freak says, Cole is a third-tier center. I don't trust him. Okay. I have to take your word for it. I don't know much about Mason Cole at all. Dewan Gay says, I am worried about divisional games. Like, can we compete offensively? I don't think so. It's a fair point, because we have not seen this new wave offense in action. Very fair point. And that's why I said it's always interesting to make your predeterminations now, because a lot is going to change. I even saw somewhere where they said the Steelers currently don't have 90 men on the roster. So it's, the question out there is, are they going to bring in a bigger name free agent to, round out that roster? We'll see. See, a lot of things can change between now and training camp, and a lot of things can happen during training camp. So we'll have this conversation again. BSG74 says, would you sign Boswell to a new contract? Yes, I would. Boswell, at this moment, is not giving me a reason to feel like he doesn't deserve another contract. We all remember that one year he had the little hiccup, and we were like, yeah, you got to prove yourself. He has done that since then, so I would. Dominique says, I agree with you, Sim. This team is intriguing. It's going to take a few years, but we'll have to see how the QBs play out. That's where I'm at with it. I'm really going to thoroughly enjoy watching this, man. I really am. There, I really am. I guess I'll read these comments. It's fair. Barbara Bill says, all black defensive coaching staff. Okay. And then Kenya says, well, there are, Caucasian males on the staff as well. So, take from that what you will, folks. Okay, we're here. I might as well speak on it. In the case of the coaching staff, I don't think, let me get this out the way. I don't think it's intentionally done just to be done. I don't think it's a minority thing. I think Mike Tomlin has always been open and honest with that. I enjoyed his honesty. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a little podcast that he does, Ike Taylor does with this other guy. I forget his name now. But Mike Tomlin was a guest on there, and it kind of talked about the hiring of Brian Flores. He admitted, look, yes, I gave this guy an opportunity. But not only that, he's a great coach. So I think it's fair in that regard to say Coach Tomlin took a chance on a minority candidate for the linebackers coach, right? But a great coach all the while. But if you want to say he threw a bone to somebody, it would be him. As far as everyone else on the staff, I think they're just the right people for the job. Because like Kenyon said, last time I checked, Mike Canada is not a black coach, nor is Mike Sullivan, nor is, what's my man's name, the offensive line coach. His name is slipping my mind right now. Nor is Danny Smith, nor is Jerry Olasky. So I get what people are saying. And again, my man, Barbara Bill, who made that comment, I don't think you're trying to say anything. I'm just saying, because I've seen that type of narrative. Like you'd be surprised, guys, if I showed you DMs and stuff. People send me all kinds of wild stuff, and I've seen people literally say, "Yeah, go Tomlin, yeah, pro this, pro that," and I'm like, I don't think it's really exactly that. I think Tomlin just has his eyes on all candidates, and some of these candidates happen to be black candidates, minority candidates, but they're the best guys for the job. But again, if you look at the staff, it's pretty diverse. So I wouldn't read into that type of narrative. Shout outs to Wild Diggy, man, for the donation. Let me make sure my thing here is working so I can give him his round of applause. Round of applause. And y'all know me, man. Yes, as you can see, as an African American male, I just want equal opportunity for everyone. But at the same time, I want the best coach, regardless. I don't care if they're black coach, white coach, Asian coach, Hispanic coach, whatever other ethnicity that I didn't mention. I just want the best man for the job. That's how I am. Why Diggy said, oh, round of applause, my bad. And yes, Lanisha, I like Jerry O a lot as well, really do. Why Diggy says, Sim, do you think the Steelers keep 6 wide receivers, and if so, who's the odd man out between Gunner, Boykins, and Miller? Wow. Man, what a question. All right, guys, so help me name them. Let's name them here together. Who are the 6? Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Calvin Austin. Man, when we get down to 5 and 6 is where it gets tricky. I'm going to say Miles Boykin. I'm going to say Anthony Miller. That wasn't as tricky as I thought. So let me explain my case, and then I'll look in the chat and see what you guys have. And how funny. It looks like we getting close to that hour, right? I think Miles Boykin has an opportunity because of his size. I think the Steelers might be looking to have more guys like that, more of the Claypool, George Pickens type of build who can also block. Special teams is going to be important, gunners and things like that, or just guys on coverage team. Where it gets a little tricky is, I want to put Miller on the team along with Austin and remove Gunner. But here's where it gets tricky. Who's going to be the better slot, right? So let's say Austin and Miller are competing for the slot receiver position. If both of those guys have their competition, do the Steelers keep both of them? Do the Steelers keep Calvin Austin, obviously, because they drafted him? He has speed and potential, even if you want to just make him a returner. But if Miller proves to earn his keep, y'all, and you see the pictures of him, a dude cut up looking like an action figure, look like he in great shape. Do you keep both guys like that, and do you keep Gunner as just a special teamer? See, it's a lot of questions that are going to get answered for me in training camp. Are they going to try Austin out in the return game? If they do, then yeah, I think you're going to see a situation where there's quote-unquote 5 receivers and then a return specialist, right? And that would be kind of how you can sneak an extra receiver on the field or on the roster. So as I sit here today, I think it's more likely that the 6 could be Johnson, Claypool, Pickens, Austin, Boykins, Miller. More so than Gunner booting one of those guys off the roster due to his receiving capability. And that's where it gets tricky. That's where it gets tricky, because I have a feeling that if they try Austin at kick returning and punt returning, could be trouble for Gunner. Because, again, that's a way that you can sneak a guy on the roster as a return specialist in case you want to keep a guy like Miller as well for offensive snaps, while you groom a guy like Austin. You see what I mean? So let's keep our close eyes, guys, on the slot receiver position. Keep that in mind. That's going to be interesting. Claude Bishop says 6 and Gunner. I don't see that. I don't see the Steelers keeping 6 receivers and Gunner unless, I don't see that. Q is saying Gunner will be our returner. Okay, so now who goes? So does that mean he rounds out the 6 and then we have to choose between him and Boykin? So give me a little meat on that bone, guys, when you give your opinion. Tell me why. Again, I'm just curious. Just curious on you guys' thoughts and how you think it's going to shake out. But again, like I said, I don't think it would be Gunner plus 6. I don't think they're going to have 7 total receivers. I don't see that happening. 007 says he thinks Boykin is the one that's gone. Q says Miller. Steeler Card says it will be Deontay, Claypool, Pickens, Austin, and Boykin. Okay, but that's only 5. That's only 5. So do you think they're only going to keep 5 Steeler Cards? Because the question was that why Diggy posed was if they keep 6, who gets cut? Excuse me. There you go, why Diggy. I was going to say the same thing. Let's not forget Miller has played with Trubisky. A lot of that stuff could factor in. Whoa, what happened? Hold on. Time out. I want to comment on Barbara Bill. He says, now I'm racist because I'm happy to see our people get opportunities. Y'all got, whoa. Who's calling him? Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Please call that out. Please, y'all let me know who said that. I don't think that's what Barbara Bill is saying at all. So if anyone mistook that, and again, I haven't been watching the chat. I'm only going off of what his initial comment was. I'm only going off his initial comment. So y'all please enlighten me as to what y'all are discussing there. Let's see. Steeler Car says, I think Gunner will be kept primarily as a special teamer. Yeah, and that's possible. So that means we're probably going to cut the fat somewhere else. We better keep Austin. I don't think Austin gets cut. The only way I think Austin goes is if he's just not showing anything. I think he's going to really have to bomb in order for him not to, you know what I mean? Q says, I believe they get rid of Miller, considering I expect Claypool would be more in the slot. I hope so. I would like to see a big slot. I would like to see us go, big slot, get back to when we used to have JuJu in there. I would like to. I think Claypool would do a little more damage in there across the middle. I'm gonna be honest, guys, and maybe I have to go back and watch some film. I don't think Claypool has an extensive route tree at all. Just think about how we've used them. So I know sometimes in the slot, slot guys run some of those intricate routes in there. Is Claypool able to do that, or are we just gonna use him as a matchup nightmare? You got to think, JuJu used to get open in the slot. JuJu can work himself open. I don't know if that's Claypool's game yet. Now, this is going to be, he's going into, his 3rd season? So we'll see, right? Or is this his 2nd season? No, 3rd. We'll see. We'll see. Some of you guys are saying the stream is choppy. It doesn't appear to be choppy on my side. Let me take a look. It's comparison tools. Oops, sorry, you guys are hearing it double audio there. Let me take a look. I apologize if it's choppy. Seems like it's streaming relatively well on my side. Let me see. I got it playing on my phone here. I'll be able to confirm in a minute. A few more minutes, guys. What else y'all got? Claude continues to say 6 and Gunner. Okay. Hey, we'll see. Y'all said it was choppy a few minutes ago. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting that. It looks perfectly fine on my end. Hey, Miss Odessa, how you doing? Appreciate you coming through, Miss Lady. Like always, she says it's clean on her end. Yeah, it looks clear on my side too, but you know how the internet goes, guys. Some of you guys might be experiencing, weird connections in your area and all that. So I apologize for that if it's happening. Brett Richards says Gunner isn't making it. Okay. Well, all right, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Let me give y'all a few more minutes, man. Few more minutes. Oh, what's up, C. Antoine Hill? Round of applause. Round of applause. He says, I'm late, but did you get my email? Let me check. I did see an email from you. Hold on. And I read one of your emails. I'm so bad with replying to emails, man. A lot of times I read them real quick and I might be caught up doing something and then I don't get back to it. Was it the one about the Killer Bee era? See Antoine Hill? If that's the one, what I'm going to do, actually, Let me take this right now. I'm going to post this. I'm going to create a Google Doc for that. Let's discuss this next week. This is a great topic. I think that's the one he's referring to. But basically what he was saying, to give you guys the gist of it, he was saying, in regards to the Killer Bee era, because you guys know I was down on that, and he was basically more or less saying, had we taken some of these other guys that could have potentially been available via training camp and things, salary, free agency, salary cap was what I was trying to say, salary cap. If some of these guys we would have been able to retain or sign back, would we have been able to compete better between 2007 and 2013? So I'm going to keep that in the tuck. We'll talk about it next week. I will read off of his list. I'll give you guys maybe some minor homework. Think about some of those players during that time, and let's see if you come up with some of the same list. But I will read this entire email and list the names, and then we'll discuss it live on air. So yeah, I had saw it. See Antoine Hill. Like I said, my bad, man. I'm terrible with emails because a lot of times what I do, man, is they come on my phone. I'll see the notification. I'll briefly read it. I intend on replying back, and I'm human. I'm just gonna be honest. Sometimes I don't get to it, for no particular reason other than I forgot. Okay, Gary still says Claypool is playing slot this year. He said it in an interview. Okay. That is going to make it interesting. That's going to make it interesting for a Anthony Miller. So we'll see, because if Claypool is going to play slot primarily, which makes sense, because if you get a guy like Claypool and let's say you get Pickens out there from time to time, when we go 11 personnel, if Pickens picks it up, you're going to have two big body guys right there that can block, so you can run the football out of 11. You know what I'm saying? So that does make it a little interesting, man, for Anthony Miller if this is the case. That's going to make it a little more tough for him to stick, where you would still keep a guy like Austin just because of his speed and using him as a gadget guy and things like that. So if Claypool is going to primarily play in the slot, we'll see. But if he does, when we go 11 personnel, makes it a lot tougher for a guy like Anthony Miller. So we'll see. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I don't have anything else. So, what I'm always going to do is I'm going to thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I didn't get a chance to see what the conversation was in the chat, but let me just say this to Barbara Bill, as well as who may have been going back and forth with him. I didn't perceive his comment as being racy or racist or anything like that, so I don't know where the conversation went left. Let me just say this, man. My intention is for everyone to have all love here. We can disagree. We can have a difference of opinion. We can have a difference of philosophy, but what we need to do and what I hope and demand that we all do here is show each other respect, be courteous, the age-old phrase, treat others like you want to be treated. And that's how we're going to, keep this thing growing and keep it positive, and we don't have all the nonsense in the chat when we all are basically, living by the same principles, even though we might disagree. I like disagreements. I like banter. I like differences of opinion. But, let's just not be negative to each other. Let's not be personal. Let's definitely not be disrespectful. And that's what I aim to do over here. All right, but that's it, man. So again, if you haven't already, make sure you do a couple things for me. If you like the video, please show me that. I don't know unless you hit the like button. It's the only way I can judge it. Also, if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe. So that way, you are following something that you like. And then last but not least, man, if you are subscribed, if you're a new subscriber, or if you're currently subscribed, make sure your notification bell is clicked on. For obvious reasons, it gives you a notification when videos are up and running, whether it's this, a live stream, or maybe doing some gaming, or if I'm doing a pre-recorded video. It will give you an alert to let you know that a video is available. But outside of that, man, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the finals. Is it going to be over in the next game? We shall see. Is Game 6 Clay going to show up? We shall see. But at any rate, try to enjoy some other sports, man, because we're a little ways from football now and lull period until training camp. So let's try to keep ourselves busy. And while you're doing so, make sure you stay safe. God bless. Good night. And I thank you for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.